Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is TV Show Thursday, and as you can tell by my shirt here, it is Throwback Thursday. So today, for my Throwback Thursday review, I wanted to do a classic Nick show. Today I wanted to do a review on Rocko's Modern Life. Rocko's Modern Life was, I thought was an original show on Nick. I used to love it when I was younger. It's basically about this wallaby named Rocko, and he lives in this small house with his dog Spunky. And every episode involves him and his friends or his neighbors, the big heads. And it involves them getting into some kind of mischief. And you see that stuff doesn't always go right for Rocko. He actually has, I believe he had some jobs during the show, and I believe his main job was at a comic book store. Now, there's a lot of characters on Rocko's Modern Life, so I'm only going to talk about two of my favorites, and they kind of tie into my two favorite episodes. So I want to talk about the big heads. The big heads are these frogs that live next door, and Ed Bighead is quite the hothead. He's so funny. He works at Kaglamo, and he was quite upset when his son Ralph did not want to work with him. He wanted to be a cartoon artist, and he actually disowned his son for many years, and he eventually let his son back into his life. And he was, even though Ralph was quite the success, he was actually tired of his job and he wanted more. One of my favorite episodes has to do with Ralph and the Big Heads is Wacky Deli, and that has to do with Ralph being tired of his cartoon job and wanting to make some type of sculpture, I believe. So in order to get out of his contract, he has to make this bad TV show. So he has Rocko, Heifer, and Filbert make the show because he believes that they'll make an awful show. So Rocko, Heifer, and Filbert make this pitch that these deli characters that they made, and it's actually quite funny to watch. It's so funny because they come up, I think Rocko comes up with a girl character named Betty Baloney, I believe, and Heifer makes this salami character and Filbert makes this cheese character, and it was funny because he thought it'd be awful, but it actually, Wacky Deli turned out to be a major hit, and Ralph kept trying to sabotage them, but every attempt he kept making at sabotaging it actually made the show a bigger success. So at the end of the episode, he actually did get the show canceled, and he got to fulfill his dream of making this big sculpture, even though it took like 10 years. Now, my other favorite character, who I believe is a fan favorite, is Heifer. Heifer is this cow who is Rocko's best friend, and you constantly see Heifer eating all the time, and everything that comes out of his mouth is funny. And one of my favorite episodes, and it has to do with Heifer and his family, is Who's for Dinner, and that's when you're introduced to Heifer's parents, and it's quite funny when you see that Heifer learns that he's adopted, and it's not funny that he learned that he's adopted, because that would be terrible for anybody to think that that was their biological parents, but you actually found out you're adopted. That must be awful for somebody to find out. But it was funny for us to watch because you could see that his family were a pack of wolves and he was a cow, so it was quite obvious that he was adopted. And he was so upset. He's like, "What? I was adopted? It's not true. Tell me it's not true." And his family actually wanted to raise him so they can eat him, but they actually grew to love him and they raised him as their own. And he actually has like quite loving parents. I mean, his dad is also kind of a hothead, but his mom's very loving and she has this kind of twitch to her. She also has, Heifer has a brother and sister and this grandpa who, I think he must have something wrong with his sight because he keeps mistaking Rocko for a beaver. And it's very funny. And Heifer actually ends up running away but he actually returns home and he realizes that his biological father wasn't who he thought he was, and that his adopted parents are his family. And he goes and hugs his dad, but he hugs him too hard, so he throws up because I think he just ate. And you see them on the rooftop, all howling, and then you hear Heifer go moo. I'm like, oh my god, it's so funny. So Rocko's Modern Life is definitely a classic. I would definitely recommend watching it if you haven't seen the series. I believe a lot of the episodes are on YouTube, so you can check out all the episodes you want. And I also believe the Splat that's on the Teen Nick channel also airs Rocko episodes sometimes. So those are two ways that you can watch Rocko if you're a fan of the show or if you've never seen it. I would definitely tune into it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this Rocko's Modern Life review, and until next time, stay regal.